You've tried pills, sound machines, even silence, but nothing drowns out the ringing. What if the answer isn't something you take, but something you do with your own body every single day? The truth is, tinnitus doesn't always come from your ears. Sometimes it starts in your neck, your jaw, your shoulders. Sometimes the ringing in your ears is your nervous system screaming for relief tension you've been carrying for years, finally echoing through your head like a broken alarm. And if you're over 50, that tension is even more likely. You've been living with stress, bad posture, poor sleep, and decades of accumulated muscle stiffness. That's why today we're not talking about medicine. We're talking about motion. Because there are 5 exercises, gentle, powerful, proven, that can help reduce tinnitus naturally simply by calming the parts of your body that may be making it worse. And it all begins with something you haven't thought about in years, your neck. Every day you tilt your head forward to read your phone, slump in your chair while watching TV, or tense up your shoulders when stressed. That position, head forward, jaw, tight spine, compressed cuts off circulation to the base of your skull and creates pressure on your auditory nerve. That's why the first exercise is neck retraction. It's simple. Sit up straight, gently pull your chin back like you're trying to make a double chin hold for 5 seconds, then relax. Do this 10 times. That's it. No weights, no machines, just pure neurological reset. And what you'll notice over time is that the base of your skull feels looser, lighter. The pressure eases. The ringing softens. Because blood flow is returning to the places where sound perception begins. But it doesn't stop there. Because for many seniors, tinnitus is linked to jaw tension, especially the temporomandibular joint, or TMJ. If you've ever clenched your jaw while sleeping, chewed gum often, or had a history of grinding your teeth, you're already at risk. That joint sits right next to your inner ear. When it's inflamed, it can put pressure on the auditory canal. That's why exercise 2 focuses on the jaw. Here's what you do. Place the tip of your tongue behind your top front teeth. Slowly open your mouth while keeping your tongue in place. Feel the stretch beneath your ears. Hold for 5 seconds, then close gently. Repeat 10 times. This stretch releases tension that's been building for years, sometimes without you even knowing it. And as that tension melts, many people report an almost instant softening of their tinnitus tone. It's not magic, it's muscle release, and your brain feels it. The third area you need to target is your shoulders. Because when your shoulders are raised and tight, they pull your entire posture out of alignment, pinching nerves, restricting blood flow, and creating a pressure chain that travels straight to your ears. That's why exercise 3 is shoulder rolls, but done mindfully with breath. Sit tall, inhale deeply, roll your shoulders up, back, and down slowly as you exhale. Do this 10 times, then reverse the direction. Feel the warmth in your traps. That's circulation, that's oxygen, that's tension leaving your nervous system. And when your nervous system feels safe, it doesn't ring alarms. It doesn't generate phantom sounds. It rests. You may be wondering, how can such simple movements do what medications can't? Because these aren't just stretches. They're neurological resets. They calm the fight-or-flight reflex that tinnitus often feeds on. When you're tense, stressed, or physically stiff, your brain interprets that as danger. And in danger, it becomes hyper-aware, listening for threats, even inventing sounds that aren't real. But when you move gently, breathe deeply, and restore blood flow, you send a different message: I'm safe now. And in that safety, the noise begins to fade. Now that your neck, jaw, and shoulders have begun to release years of silent tension, it's time to go deeper, not just into your body, but into your breath. Because the ringing in your ears doesn't live in isolation. It feeds off your anxiety, your posture, your stress hormones. And while you may think you've learned to live with it, your nervous system hasn't. It's still on edge, still alert, still firing signals that something is wrong. That's where exercise 4 comes in, what some call box breathing, but what you'll come to know as the 3-minute tinnitus circuit breaker. Here's how it works. Sit somewhere quiet. Close your eyes. Inhale deeply for a count of 4. Hold your breath for a count of 4. Exhale slowly for a count of 4. Hold your breath again, 4 counts. Then repeat the cycle 4 times. That's just 64 seconds. Do this 2 or 3 times a day, especially when the ringing spikes or when stress builds in your chest. What happens during those few minutes is profound. Your vagus nerve activates cortisol drops, and your brain shifts from fight or flight into a parasympathetic state, that calm zone where healing happens. This isn't just theory. Studies have shown that deep rhythmic breathing actually changes brainwave activity. And when your brain waves settle, tinnitus often follows. But there's more. Because even as your breath brings stillness to your nervous system, your spine, the core of your posture, your alignment, your circulation might still be working against you. You've spent years hunched over steering wheels, reclined in soft chairs, or craned forward looking at screens. And when your spine is curved, your vertebral arteries, those that supply blood to the base of your brain, get kinked. That kink restricts flow. And reduced blood flow means reduced oxygen to the auditory processing centers of your brain. This is why exercise 5 is so critical, the standing wall stretch. Stand against a flat wall with your heels back, shoulders and head all touching the surface. Your palms should face outward, and your arms should be gently pressed against the wall in a W shape. Now slowly raise your arms to form a Y, sliding along the wall without losing contact. Hold the Y for 5 seconds, then return to W. Repeat 10 times. This strengthens your mid-back, opens your chest, and resets your spine's natural curve. You may not feel it immediately, but over time you'll notice you're standing taller, breathing deeper, and feeling less pressure behind your ears. Some people even report a soft pop during the stretch and alignment correction that relieves inner head tension. Your body is smarter than you think. When it's aligned, it's quiet. You might be thinking, but I already walk daily or I go to the gym. That's good. Movement is life. But general movement isn't the same as targeted neurological decompression. You need specific motions that release the exact pressure points feeding your tinnitus. These 5 exercises, neck retraction, jaw release, shoulder rolls, breath reset, and spinal alignment, do just that. And they don't take hours. They take intention. 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there. Done daily, they whisper to your nervous system, you can stop ringing now. I'm listening. And here's something you didn't expect. These exercises don't just help your ears. They help your sleep, your memory, your emotional resilience. Because the same nerves involved in auditory processing also regulate mood digestion and heart rhythm. When you reset those nerves, the benefits ripple through your entire body. But the magic is not in doing them once. The magic is in consistency. Your tinnitus didn't show up overnight, and it won't fade overnight either. But if you show up, if you move, breathe, and align with intention every day, your nervous system will slowly stop sounding the alarm. That's not a promise. It's biology. You now understand the exercises. You felt the stretches breathe through the tension, heard the quiet shift in your body's message. But let me tell you something. Few people with tinnitus ever hear exercises alone are not enough unless they become part of the rhythm of your life. Because the real key to calming that ringing isn't just what you do, it's how often you do it, how gently you respect your body, and how consistently you signal safety to your overstimulated brain. And that starts not with time, but with habit. So how do you build these movements into your everyday life? Start simple. Before you even get out of bed in the morning, try 5 slow neck retractions. No tools, no mirror, just a gentle press of your chin back into alignment. This tiny move begins your day with intention. You're not rushing, you're not reacting. You're telling your nervous system. We start today with space, not pressure. As you brush your teeth, roll your shoulders back with each exhale. While the kettle boils or your coffee brews, do 5 rounds of box breathing. You're not adding tasks, you're reprogramming routines. At lunch, when you usually scroll your phone, sit back instead and practice the jaw stretch. Feel that slow pull beneath your ears and recognize how tension that's been building for years begins to let go. These aren't exercises now, they're rituals, anchors, gentle nudges that pull you back to balance throughout the day. In the evening, when silence makes the ringing feel loudest, that's your moment to lean in, not run. Turn the lights low, lean against the wall, slide into the W to Y stretch. And as your spine realigns, your breath deepens, your mind quiets. And for the first time in days or years, you realize the sound is there, but it doesn't own you. You own your response. You see, most people make a crucial mistake with tinnitus. They chase silence like it's a finish line. They believe they can cure the sound when the real healing happens in changing their relationship with it. These 5 exercises aren't about erasing tinnitus. They're about teaching your nervous system that the ringing isn't a threat. They build tolerance, they build flexibility, they teach your brain through repetition and rhythm that it doesn't need to fight anymore. And here's the secret: no one talks about tinnitus thrives in fear. The more you flinch when you hear it, the more power it gains. It feeds on panic, fuels itself with frustration. But when you meet it with movement, with breath, with grounded repetition, you shrink its influence. You're no longer the victim of noise. You're the conductor of calm. And something incredible begins to happen. As your body softens, your mind follows. Sleep becomes easier. Your mood stabilizes. Your thoughts feel less jumbled, less fatigued. Why? Because your vagus nerve, the great communicator between body and brain, has been reawakened. And it loves breath, it loves stretch, it loves posture. Every time you exhale during box breathing, every time your jaw releases or your spine opens, your vagus nerve sends a new message to your brain. The emergency is over. That's why these movements must become non-negotiable. Not because they're dramatic, but because they're the opposite. They're small, repetitive, predictable. And that's exactly what your overstimulated auditory system needs. Your tinnitus doesn't need more stimulation. It needs softness, space, stillness. And I'll be honest, there will be days when you don't want to do any of it. When the ringing feels loud, your body feels stiff, and you wonder if it's even worth trying. That's when you need it most, because those are the days your nervous system is slipping back into defense mode. That's when you fight not with force, but with form. Do the stretch. Breathe through the doubt. Let your body relearn calm. And as you do this day after day, something even deeper shifts. Your identity begins to change. You're no longer someone who's struggling with tinnitus. You become someone who responds, who moves with purpose, who chooses alignment over avoidance. That shift changes everything, not just the sound, but how you live with the sound. Now you understand something that most doctors, most articles, and even most support groups will never tell you. The ringing in your ears is not just about ears. It's about your entire nervous system. It's about your posture, your breath, your stress, your sleep, your movement, and most of all, your attention. You didn't end up here because you ignored your health. You ended up here because no one ever told you that healing from tinnitus isn't about pills or sound machines. It's about reclaiming the daily rhythm of safety your brain has been begging for. And those 5 exercises, they aren't magic. They're signals, powerful signals, that every day you are choosing presence over panic, balance over noise, calm over chaos. The neck retraction tells your spine, you don't have to carry this weight alone anymore. The jaw stretch whispers, let go of what you've been holding in silence. The shoulder rolls remind you, you are not frozen, you can still move, still soften. The box breathing says, you are safe right now. No danger, no alarm. And the wall stretch, that gentle W to Y posture reset, tells your brain, the pressure's lifting. You are upright, open, aligned. You're not just quieting tinnitus. You're rebuilding trust with your own body. But I want to challenge you now, gently but clearly, because all of this information means nothing without action. And I'm not talking about extreme workouts or sudden overhauls. I'm talking about starting today. Doing one of the 5. Just one. Maybe the jaw stretch while you're reading this. Or the box breath before bed. And then again tomorrow, and again the next day, because the ringing may never fully disappear. But what if you could turn it down? What if you could stop fearing it? What if you could learn to live above it, not under it? You've already started that journey, right here, by reading, by thinking differently. But now it's time to live differently, to move with awareness, to breathe with purpose, to sit and stand and stretch like someone who knows their nervous system is listening. Because it is. And remember, this isn't just about sound. It's about dignity, sleep, joy, connection, being able to listen to your grandchild laugh without a high-pitched whine in the background, being able to sit on your porch and enjoy silence without wincing, being able to fall asleep without fear of what the night will sound like. That is not a fantasy. That is a possibility, but only if you practice. So here's your final challenge. Pick one exercise, do it every day for 7 days, just one. Track how you feel, then add a second. Let it build. Let it become a part of how you live, not just how you cope. Because you don't just want relief, you want resilience. And when the ringing comes again, and it will, don't fight it, acknowledge it. Then stretch your neck, breathe slowly. Remind your body that it is safe, that you are listening, that you are no longer ignoring the signals. You are responding with strength, with softness, with wisdom. You are not the sound. You are not the fear. You are the one who moves anyway. And every move is a step back toward quiet.